Welcome to Life Wisdom with Ed Langan, the place to come for practical and spiritual information as you move forward along your path and life wisdom from the guides. On this spiritual talk show, we talk about everything from self-love and creating your own reality to quantum physics and what your soul wants you to know. I'm your host, Ed Langan. I am a psychic channel for the Ascended Ones, the guides. I am a life coach, a law of attraction expert, and a spiritual teacher. Other than that, I am just a regular guy, whatever that might be. And on this episode, I have a special guest. I'm going to interview Courtney Champagne. And Courtney is going to be talking about being a reluctant healer, her place, Humor Me Reiki, and her mission to help others. And on the second part of the show, I will channel the guides to answer questions for you in the live chat. And we will talk more about that. It'll be about law of attraction or about what we talked about during the show or any aspect of your life. Courtney is going to stay around for the Q&A. So if you have a specific question for her, make sure you address it to her. You can send questions in ahead of time and message them to me. And I think that's that for that. Thank you for everybody who's liking and sharing all of our shows, my show and all our shows on Star Nations. We really appreciate that. And your liking it and sharing it makes other people who are seeking this information able to find it. So a heartfelt thank you from all of us at Star Nations. Hello, Margaret. How are you? Glad you're here. Hope you're doing well. Valerie is here also. Hi, Valerie. And it's Big Thursday. So this is the Thursday of the month where at 4 o'clock you have my show, Life Wisdom with Ed Langan. And at 7 o'clock you have Maureen Mann's show, Angel Therapy. And at 8 o'clock you have Polly Jo LeBay's show, Chakra Sessions. So lots to watch today on Star Nations. And again, thank you for everybody who's liking and sharing and commenting. We appreciate it. The magazine, the October issue, which is the 89th issue of Star Nations magazine, let me hold it up there for you, will be published in 2 days on the 10th. It'll be available. And down at the bottom there, you see Demystifying Soul Purpose. That is my article. And there's the whole cover there. So that is available to you in 2 days. We'll make sure that that information is in the comments. Good. The other thing that I want to remind you is, while we're waiting to see who else is joining us, we do a meditation once a month. And the meditation is for peace, love, harmony, and healing. And what we do is we ask that wherever you are, you meditate with us for 10 minutes on, as I said, peace, love, harmony, and healing. The next one is going to be on Monday, September 28th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And time isn't linear. So if you're not available to meditate exactly right with us right then, if you meditate anytime that day or the day before or the day after and hold the intention that your energy joins ours, that will still work because, as I said, time is not linear, it's fluid, and you can join us that way. So hopefully you can join in. I think we're good. So with that, I'm going to have Marjorie bring Courtney in. There's Courtney. Welcome,
Hi,
Courtney.
Ed.
How are you?
I'm good. Of course it's Big Thursday. I'm here.
Oh, excellent. Yes, I agree with that too. So we're happy to hear. I'm going to quickly read a little bit of what Courtney put for her bio. Courtney is a certified Reiki master teacher with a passion for all that positive energy can accomplish. A lucky mom living in beautiful Scituate, Mass. with 2 children. She loves the opportunity to give back and help others with her experience and spiritual passion. So excellent. Very good. Welcome. We're glad you're here. And if you're ready, let's just jump right in.
Let's do it.
All right. So tell us a little bit about your path, how your spiritual gifts came about, and where your reluctance is with all of that.
Okay. I can do that.
All right, good.
Believe it or not, for a very long time, I was a certified rule follower. I'm a recovering rule follower. We'll put it that way. But I firmly believe that my second child, my daughter, who's 8 now, was the catalyst to my awakening. And it was an abrupt awakening, but it's been a long 8 years, a long good 8 years that has landed me here. And a lot of what I've accomplished in these 8 years was a series of synchronicities, right? It's always the universe leading you. So between people I met and classes I decided to jump into, I was guided to take a mediumship course with the great Rita Berkowitz. And
Rita's wonderful. Yeah.
She is wonderful. So that was a year-long course that I took, which opened me up to more than just mediumship, because she touched upon so many things, and even the people I met in the journey opened me up to other forms of healing, which brought me to Reiki. I began by learning about Reiki. I remember being told that I was a healer, and so many readings where people said, I had healing energy, and I'd say, yeah, so anyways, what else is there to tell me about, and I'd move on to another subject because it was uncomfortable for me to talk about me being a healer. I really didn't want any part of it. I just had an aversion. I didn't even like hugs. So the idea that I was going to help heal anybody. But then when I learned Reiki, wait a minute, I don't have to touch anybody. I can just send the energy. Okay. All right. And that's where I was like, all right, I will humor this and I will start to learn Reiki. Obviously, a lot's changed since then. I love hugs now. I miss them with COVID, but I still have my peanuts here that I can smother. But that's kind of how I decided finally I had to get off that preaching pulpit. I had to stop telling people what they should probably do, although I was, helpful. I had to listen. I had to practice what I preached, really, is what ended up happening. I ended up telling a friend that if he were so interested in opening a business, he needed to let the universe know, and he needed to be serious about it and take action towards it. And within that experience of helping him, lo and behold, there was a space available. And lo and behold, I was able to get in contact quite easily with the realtor, and nobody wanted it. So that's when Humor Me was born. A physical location, at least, was born.
Oh, okay. All right, good. I'm going to ask you another question in a second. We're going to say hello to a few people. Nikki is here. Hello, Nikki. How are you? Leah is here, and she's saying hello to both of us. Valerie is asking. Okay, so Valerie is saying it's good to see you. Ann Donahue is here. Hi, Ann. How are you? Missy is here. Missy is the owner of Just Breathe Salt Room in Westboro, Mass. So hi, Missy. I'm glad you're here. Okay. Very good. Esperanza is here. Nikki is writing no issues with hearing from me. I get maybe there was something saying there was something. All right. So I think we're good. All right. Excellent. So hello to everybody, and you can say hello to everybody too if you want.
Hi. Hi, Tula. Hi, Valerie.
Good. Excellent. And so in your explanation there, you said that your awakening was abrupt.
So, absolutely.
Okay. So can you offer a little more explanation of what do you mean by that?
I sure can. So my daughter was due the month of December. She was actually due on Christmas Day. And 3 weeks, she decided to come early. So, which was good for her because I was going to name her Jesus. So she came early, 3 weeks early. And I have to tell you, a week prior to her arrival, I found myself seeking out a therapist because I needed to talk to her and let her know that I didn't want anyone that was currently in my life around me or my child who was coming in the next week or so. I remember feeling absolutely isolated, but at the same time, I just changed. It changed me. It wasn't just motherhood that changed me. It was a veil was lifted, and it was lifted like that, which can be really foundation shattering and unsettling. And it was. And I recall a friend of mine who was a medium at the time saying, in 7 years, you're going to look back and you're going to be grateful for this journey. 7 years? Are you shitting me? I burst into tears. Like, who wants to do this for 7 years? Thankfully, I would look back, and it did take, she was about right. She was on the money.
Okay.
But it was baby steps, throughout those 7 years. So there was a lot of hope still as I went through that journey.
Okay. All right. Good. Did you have psychic experiences as a child?
I did. I spent a lot of time alone as a child. I was a latchkey kid. Shout out to my latchkey children out there, my Generation X friends. So I spent a lot of time alone, a lot of time with my Barbie dolls. And absolutely, there was a few friends I had, some that actually have come through in recent readings to say, hey.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, good. And reminisce, which was kind of neat.
Good. Cool. All right. Good. How does all of this come? Well, before we do that, I want to talk to you about Rita Berkowitz. Can you tell us a little bit about, she's amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with her and how that helped you with mediumship?
Sure. So I reached out to Rita blindly on Facebook and said, someone gave me your name, and are you teaching a class? And she said, well, funny you should ask. I'm in retirement, but I'm coming back out this weekend. So that was that. It was a no-brainer to sign up for Rita's class, but if you haven't met her, you should research her classes. But her class wasn't comprised of just learning how to be a medium. It was comprised of all the different modalities. And it was also had a science-based piece to it as well, which added a lot more validity, especially for, I'm sure, the skeptics out there. So we did transcendental stuff. We did precog, which is what I found was, precognitive readings, which I found was one of my strengths. So for those that don't know, that's, you take an item from somebody, a loved one or whomever, and you can kind of hone in on the energy and read into that person and maybe a message. I think that's for, the more resistant folk like myself who maybe don't want to sit down and be put on the spot. But she brought us through this journey over, I think it was 8 months or so. And it was every Saturday, all day Saturday for a good period of time, but I couldn't wait. We even did some reading through our own artwork. So we would sit and we would paint watercolors for the recipient and then read the watercolors. So it was a lot of cool stuff. Valerie knows, she's listening right now. She was part of my class. I'm very grateful for the women I connected with through the process. But I still see Rita. Rita lives in my town. So I'm a very lucky person. Just around the corner. I feel like that makes Situate magical. And she's still doing her thing and teaching the classes. So I'd urge anybody to reach out to Rita. And
she's also a very talented artist.
She's a talented artist. She does readings with art. Well, now she's going to probably be dismayed. She doesn't, she's in retirement. So you need to hook up if you want a reading. So reach out. I can always try and help you out there. But she also just does a lot of watercolor paintings, a lot of oil-based, and she channels those paintings. So those, yes, it's her talent, but she's also has a guide, and that guide changes. It's not always the same guide. And you can tell if you look through the progression of her work, that the guide clearly changed.
Yes. Yeah. Now, I'm just going to interject a little bit here and tell a little story about me. I had heard that you can call in specific guides. So if you're painting, you can call in Michelangelo or Leonardo or whatever. So I'm a musician and I play guitar. So I thought, well, let me see what's the deal with this. And I called in Jimi Hendrix and I wrote a song in his style like nothing I would ever have written before. And I kept saying, sorry, dude, I can't play as well as you. This has got to pour through someone who's not as talented as Hendrix. But it was an interesting experience. And I wrote a song that sounds very much like something Jimi Hendrix would write that doesn't sound like anything I have ever written before. So for our viewers out there who are brave and want to try that, it might be a fun experiment to check that out and try that.
It's a very cool experience. I will tell you that if I'm going into a meeting or something that's going to maybe cause a little bit of anxiety and I need to perform well, I channel Einstein. I channel, Gloria Steinem, even though she's still here. You could channel people that are still alive. I channel whoever I think I need in my back pocket so that they're all with me and helping me enunciate and communicate clearly and get my point across and ultimately win if it happens to be that type of situation.
Okay, good. Excellent. Excellent. Good. So there's a theme that happens on my show, and you're part of that theme, and you've sort of alluded to it in the beginning that you're a recovering deal
rule follower.
Right, you're right. There you go. Rule follower. Thank you. And so you're sort of moving away from corporate. You had a corporate experience, and so tell us a little bit more about that, because that's an interesting theme that is reoccurring on this show.
So I do still have that corporate, I call it my day job, right? But I still have the corporate job. What I have worked very hard to do is when I realized that at some point we need to separate at some point, not yet. But until then, I manifest what I want to manifest from that job. I do simple things like I take a Post-it and I write all the attributes I want in a job or I write, what I want as far as, for example, full-time pay, but less than part-time work, or no disruptions to my personal life. So I've used a lot of the tools that I've learned through this spiritual journey to make it what it needs to be to fit into my life and still provide me with the abundance that's necessary to continue to be happy and to continue to spend time with my children and do the things I love. Good. There's no need for it to completely diminish my hope. There's no need for it to, be something that makes me want to curl back up in bed every day. That's no way for us to live. We're here to be joyful, and I am going to be joyful, damn it.
Good. I agree 100%. And you're also using some law of attraction and some other laws in there to.
Oh, sure am.
Good. Excellent. Good. So how does using those tools, law of attraction, and what you learned from corporate, how does that come into play in your practice, or does it come into play in your practice?
It does come into play for sure. I would say that everybody's got their own individual journey. A lot of what I've been focused on with Humor Me is the folks that maybe are on the spiritual closet threshold. Some are in still, but some are out or newly out, like I was 8 years ago. And you're like a sponge at that point, just like when you're a kid, you're a sponge and you want everything. I became a workshop junkie. Every weekend I was consumed with anything I could get my hands on for tools and spirituality. But I feel that my corporate background helps because of communication skills. I'm in sales. So, that helps as well because I'm able to help people. I'm not trying to sell you something that you might not want. What I'm trying to do is help you convince yourself that this might be what you need without feeling like that you should restrain yourself or not be your true self is what I think it comes down to. I want you to know there's a safe place for this, and it doesn't have to be, and it's what you choose. It's your journey. So it's what you choose it to be. It can be all out. We're running through fields and picking up butterflies, or it can simply be, it could be this show and maybe baby steps of watching things like this or several other podcasts. As long as it's leading you to happiness and joy.
Good. Yeah, I was talking to someone last night about being in the sponge stage where, you can't, I have hundreds and hundreds of spiritual books and the workshops and more. And, anything that Abraham put out, I was like, I have to have this. I have, and so, but what you're saying is it's within your control. And so do you still feel like you're in the sponge stage, or are you moving past that?
I'm in the sponge stage. I'm in a different sponge stage. So I think that I'm grateful, I will say, that none of this was edible because I'd be massive and probably not fitting on the screen right now because I was that voracious with any kind of material that was presented. But I think we can all agree that a lot has changed even in 10 years. And there's so many more outlets, so much more to offer. And then COVID hit, and there's so much more online stuff that people are now more comfortable with. But I'm absolutely still voracious. I've progressed at this point. So I think I'm starting to hone in on a few new items like earthing, for example. That came to me probably within the year, and it's very helpful to me. So it's constantly evolving, but I love that I'm just building on my encyclopedia.
Yeah. I was well into my spiritual journey before I even heard the word grounding. I'm leaving grounding. I like to float. What do you want to ground for?
Right. Get down here, Ed. Poor Marge.
Yeah, she would tie a string to my ankle so I wouldn't float away. Yeah. And Marge is here. She's flying the plane and doing a wonderful job, as she always does. So anybody out there who wants to say hi to Marge, Marge is here. So we love the name of your business, and you alluded to it. We want to talk a little bit more about that. Why do you call it Humor Me?
I had the name before I knew why, but obviously it's been a couple of years now. And Humor Me is disarming, in my opinion, and it takes any kind of wall down and it opens people's hearts. So if you're just having a normal conversation and I'm trying to tell you, Ed, I want you to know that the trees in my backyard are blue. Obviously, you're not going to believe me. But if I say, will you humor me? I think that shows that it's a show of friendship. It's a show of willingness to be open. And regardless of what the trees look like, you've given me the respect, and I'm giving it back to you to show you my blue trees. I think that that's really where it comes from. It's supposed to be lighthearted, but it's also mutual respect.
Yeah, I like that.
And there's no strings attached. You humor me, and if it's not for you, it's not for you. That's okay too.
And when you say that to someone, they give you the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
Which is very disarming. So brilliant. I love it. That's a great name. Sorry, you're clever.
Thank you.
So you're not going to like this, but oh well. What do you do when your path gets challenging?
Well, it's funny you should ask. Well, one thing I do is I watch an Ed talk real fast. I can tell you today's, for those of you who haven't watched the Ed talk for today, the energy is requiring you to do so. I would say that this past 2 weeks particularly have been a bit of a challenge for me. And what I do is I go back to the people that are my totems, my folks, my crew. The tool is out there and the Lees and everybody else because what's the first rule? You need to surround yourself with like-minded people, and like-minded people are going to lift you up. So that's important. And that also keeps me in my spiritual practice. I seek out people like you. I seek out, the people that have gotten me to this 8th year of my journey. I focus on my kids because how much purer can you get when it comes to trying to find joy? My daughter's very in tune with the fairies. She's also a Reiki practitioner. So I make sure to keep the channels open with them as well so that we don't get clogged. Sometimes one of us gets clogged. Hardly ever do all 3 of us get clogged. So we can kind of work off of each other and balance the energy again when it does get kind of wonky. And I think the biggest piece is hope. You got to have hope. You have to have hope. And COVID, I think, has shown us that you can't always just make hope about the trip you want to take to California. It's got to be real day, and it's got to be right now, present hope. Like, I am hopeful that my internet is going to stay on tonight. I am hopeful that the kids are going to eat the tacos and go watch a movie so we can chill out. All these little things are just the way you keep yourself moving and you inspire others.
Thank you. That's a wonderful answer. And it's one of the things that the guides offer often, and to hear someone else say it is very good, is to reach for hope.
Yeah.
Just because hope is sort of this magic elixir that brings you back to the receiving side. because once you get hopeful, now you're connected again. And then from there, your energy can grow. So
there's
that's
a lot of catchphrases, I think, in the stuff that we do, and a lot of words that we all are, use a lot, but I can't get away from raising vibration because it's just so important. And me sitting here at this desk, you sitting there, we're raising the vibration right now. Sure. And the people that are participating, you're raising the vibration right now. And that is so meaningful to the whole collective that you may not realize it right away, but it's just so impactful and so necessary, especially right now.
Yes.
I don't have any flies in my hair, right?
No, there's no flies anywhere around. You're funny.
You sure you want to do this again? No.
Absolutely. This is fun. The thing about reaching for hope is for the folks who don't understand what it means to raise your vibration. That's something that they can understand. Just say, instead of saying to them, well, just raise your vibration, and they go, just say reach for hope. So yeah, wonderful. Excellent answer. Thank you so much for that. Here's another tough one. Well, before I get to the tough one, your daughter is 8?
8 years old.
8 years old, and she is trained in Reiki.
She is. She's almost 9, but yeah, she's trained in Reiki.
Wow. Okay. And tell us a little bit about that, because when and a lot of our viewers know that the kids are still more spirit than human because we haven't taught all of that out of them yet. So they're still more connected to the energy. So when did her Reiki path actually start?
Her Reiki path was 2 years ago. I actually ended up attuning her on New Year's Day 2 years ago. The reason behind the attunement was not only because I knew it would bring us, it's a bonding experience, obviously. Selfishly, I also wanted Reiki. But she tends to carry the weight of the world on her little shoulders. You mentioned that the polar bears aren't doing well, and Mila is all about the polar bears for a long time until things are fixed. So she, especially with some of the current events that I try and shield her obviously from some of it that's unnecessary, but I got to be a realist, and our kids hear a lot of things, and it's not only in the home. So Reiki was a way for me to help her work with her anxiety, and not only help her work with it, but give her something to do for others as a service so that she knew she was being helpful, which again took the focus off of maybe her personal worries. Or if she's worried about someone else, she could send them Reiki, and that would absolutely make her feel a lot better. And crystals, she's very, very in tune with crystals. So any tools that are available, I think we have a lot more anxiety in children these days, at least more that's expressed. I would put it that way. And I think any tool that's available, and she can also give Reiki to her friends, which is just a very, very beautiful experience.
Sure. So she's an empath.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Your son is too.
Yeah. My son's an empath as well, but his is more suppressed. He's an empath. So I think that he focuses that energy on Xbox. So he'll get there someday.
Right. Now there was a question here. Okay, so we've talked a lot about being of service and that being important. So what is your personal understanding of that, explanation of that? Why is service so important to you?
Service is important because it's energy. Everything is energy. Money's energy. Service is energy. I think that if you're not putting out any kind of help or vibration for the collective or for just the immediate people in your life, that you can't expect to receive. So service can also be, in that sense, a little bit of a worthiness issue. I think that a lot of people go overboard, not realizing that they too are worthy of the same in return. So it's important to be open to receiving, not just giving all the time. And that's something I think a lot of people need to work on. I have my own worthiness journey that I'm on as well. I've made some definite accomplishments, but I'm certainly not there yet. But I find that service makes you feel better. And what happens when you feel better? You either want to do more, which helps everybody, or you want to share, or you may want to receive at that point. I think it's, if more people feel worthy, I think that it would make a very big difference in the world we're in today.
I agree. Now, it's interesting that you're connecting the service with worthy, because I work with a lot of spiritual people, a lot of healers, and etc. And they're all good at helping everybody else, and they're not good at helping themselves, and they're not good at accepting for themselves. So that's a really important point, and I'm glad you brought that up. Do you have any thoughts about that?
I do. I think that I read something probably on Facebook that really hit me hard a couple weeks ago, because it resonated, and that was that over or ultra independence is a sign of trauma. And
Yes. Yeah.
and I think it's really important for people to really sit and think on that one. I think a lot of times we've been programmed or raised to not complain, make the best of it, buck up and keep going type of mentality, and you end up overlooking yourself, and it's probably one of the most painful and one of the most detrimental things you can do, because the way you got to look at it is, if you're overlooking yourself, you're not giving your best to anybody else. Being a single mom, it resonates with me. Trust me. Do you know how many times I have not asked for help or accepted help when it's in my face? And it could be from my closest friend, and something that was ingrained in me to nope, I got it. And that's not what I want to teach my kids. We're a community. It takes a village, right? Yeah. So if that village is all, ultra independent, what's going to happen then? It's no way to live. And I think, we all need to get off our islands, and we need to connect on a human level. And that's where I'm at with the worthiness piece of it. It's important. And you feeling worthy, you're going to have 100% better chance of making someone else feel worthy.
Right. And it's vulnerability, which I have admitted I have trouble with. I'm a man, so I was brought up with no crying in baseball, and showing vulnerability is showing weakness. And and women have that too. Not accepting help when it's right there to help you, etc. So that's very insightful. So I like that a lot. Okay, so here's the question you're not going to like.
Okay, try again.
What do you know now that you didn't know 3 years ago?
Oof. So much. We need another half an hour or so, Ed. I would say that I know that everything's going to be okay. 3 years ago, I was in a state of lack. I was going day to day. At times, I would say that, financially, I was really concerned about my future. I had 2 small people that were dependent on me keeping everything together. That's probably when I learned to kind of cover everything with a glossy, everything's going to be fine, whether I was feeling it or not, which I think might have impacted my worthiness journey. So what I know now is that I am just as important as everybody else. Yeah. No one is beneath anyone else. Yes. And we're all here for each other. So I think it's given me a fearlessness that I don't know that I possessed it 3 years ago. I could definitely act like I possessed it 3 years ago.
Right.
But now I'm really embodying a fearlessness and a worthiness that wasn't here before.
Wow, that's a wonderful answer. Good. That wasn't so hard, right? It wasn't so bad.
No, not bad at all. Not bad at all.
I think that's the last of the really tough questions, but we'll see. We'll see what pops in. You reminded me of something, and I just want to share this with all of our viewers because I think it would help right here, is there are 3 affirmations that is from Deepak Chopra that I share with my clients and the people that I'm working with all the time. And you said one of them, and I don't know if you realized you said one of them. So I'm going to share all 3 of them with you. The first one is, I am beneath no one. And that is
on my mirror in my bathroom.
There you go. Beautiful. That's a really powerful affirmation. The second one is, I am fearless, which you are.
A little scary sometimes, but definitely fearless.
Well, when you're scared, that means you're paying attention. It doesn't mean you're not.
So I said scary.
Oh, scary. I don't think so. And then the third one is the one that really looks at worthiness, and it's I am immune to criticism.
Yes.
And that's a tough one for all of us, because we were taught to listen to what everybody else told us, and what everybody else thinks matters. So I will make sure that I post those in the comments for everybody who's watching, so you have them. And thank you for reminding me of that by bringing that up. That was great.
That really levels the playing field. I strongly suggest those get written down somewhere and be visible in everybody's home.
Yes. Yeah. The one that really made a difference for me is the same one that is making a difference for you, is that I am beneath no one, because that's not what I was taught, So,
right.
Yeah, that's been really, really helpful. Good. Do you have any aha moments that caused you to rethink your approach?
Certainly.
Okay.
I would absolutely. I think that one of the prime examples is feeling as though I needed to always be in a collaboration of some sort in order to present something as useful, for be it a workshop or even a service. I always felt like I needed that hand holding and that extra person or people to assist. Mm-hmm. And I think, again, that goes obviously to worthiness, but it also was, helpful to know that I'm on my own journey. Everybody's mm-hmm. journey is individual. You may know more about channeling than I do. I may know more about, right. crystals than you do. Sure. Everybody has something to offer. And that's what I had to realize. I can do this. I would say my most terrifying moment was when Rita Berkowitz made me do a group gallery reading. Holy crap. But I'm here talking to you guys today. So I did get through it and I did connect. Yeah. But I've come a long way in realizing that I can stand alone. There's no need to always, and trust me, I love collaborations as well if they make sense, but I can stand alone. And that was an aha moment for me.
Perfect. Good. It's when we stop comparing ourselves to other people, which you said, I may know more about this, but there are certainly lots of things that you know that I don't know at all. So it's the comparison that and we're all taught to compete with each other, and that doesn't work.
Right, exactly.
It's cooperation, not competition.
No, and it's great because I'm constantly learning from my friends.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. Good. So I want to talk to you about the book club.
Book club. We just started, so it's not too late. Okay. I run a book club with a colleague of mine, Judy Johnson, and it's become bigger than we thought it would be, because we're now on our third book. We started this with the good old Michael Singer, Untethered Soul, which I'm sure a lot of these listeners might be familiar with. And we've now moved on. We just kicked off the newest book club last week. So there is still time. We're not very far into the book. And I would think that some of you may have already familiarized yourself with the topic anyways. We're reading Untamed by Glennon Doyle. We get together virtually. We use Zoom, and we share, obviously, our thoughts around the book, but it's become also a good, safe place for you to take your spiritual journey as well. Everybody's in a different spot. Everybody's working with an open heart, and everybody is there to help each other. So it's very uplifting and very open. So I encourage anybody that this might resonate with to please reach out. You can look at my Facebook page or just reach out directly and message me. I'd be happy to talk to you about it.
As the show has been going on, Courtney's contact information has been up on the screen, and we will make sure, again, it's in the notes, so anybody who is interested in that. So how did the book club start? Because was it originally a book club, or did it sort of evolve into a book club?
It evolved. So we began this as a service during COVID. So mid-March, I would say that we started this, and it was more of a collective consciousness meditation offering that we wanted to offer for ourselves and for anybody that was interested, because that was when we were really thick into the shutdown too. So people were feeling a bit isolated. It was also a selfish thing so that we could raise the vibration of the collective and kind of push things along energetically. And we went from meditation and, brief conversation at the beginning of meditation to having guest speakers like yourself, Ed, and many others who would come on and share with the group not only your talents, but your perspective, and of course, some guidance as well. And I think it was just, it really filled a need that still exists. I think that, I keep throwing around that we need some sort of, self-love club, if you would.
Okay.
So I'm still playing with that kind of an idea as well, because there's a lot of need for support these days, and it's just mutually beneficial. So that's kind of where we've evolved. That's why, I want you to know that, yes, absolutely, we will talk about the wonderful Glennon Doyle and her perspective, but we may digress a little bit once in a while.
Yes, and so that's how we met. I was on one of your earlier iterations of book club where the guides came through and we talked to your folks, and it was wonderful. I met you and Judy, and that was great. Just wanted, the guides are not letting someone go by, so sorry.
What?
It's not selfish.
Okay.
It's, if you're not connected and you're not in the flow and you're not vibrating that higher vibration, you don't have as much to give. So it's not selfish to do things that help you put that in there. It is actually a form of self-love, a form of self-care. And what we were talking about earlier, where we've all been taught not to do that and not to be vulnerable and all that, that's the opposite of it. That's taking care of yourself. That's connecting and allowing the energy to flow. So the guides want you to know that they love you for doing that, and they don't want you to think of that as being selfish at all.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. The guides are coming through early.
Well, I'm here.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. There you go. So is there anything else that you're working on in the moment?
At the moment, we're also working on a podcast.
Oh,
I'm very excited, very excited. To be determined name-wise where we're headed, but we being myself and my colleague Judy Johnson, she's the Indigo Coach, if you want to look her up on Facebook. We are planning a podcast, and we plan to offer that hopefully by January. And what we are looking at for topics is absolutely spirituality, maybe some 101 stuff for those folks I mentioned before who I love to death, who are on that threshold of the closet, and the sponges out there. And also, it could be a mix of, Judy's an executive function coach, so she's got a lot of tips for parents out there as well. So it'll be a mix of those two items. I warn you now, it will not be serious at times, because I don't know how to do that all the time. So, we'll have a mix, but I think it'll be a really nice, well-rounded discussion each and every time. And of course, guests will be coming as well.
Yes. Good. Excellent. And not being serious makes it more fun.
Absolutely. It's the joy.
Yeah. And if people are going to listen to it, they're going to listen to it because it's fun.
Absolutely.
So no, that's perfect. And while we're saying fun, today's show has been incredibly fun. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
So we have been putting up your information, but we'll just say it in. How do people get in touch with you, and maybe how to get in touch with Judy also?
Sure. So I'm on Facebook, CC the Mystic. You can look up Humor Me. That's the name of the Facebook page as well. And feel free to message me there also. I answer, according to Facebook, I answer very, very quickly. So there's the Facebook page, but then there's also my website, which is humormereiki.com. And you can also message via that mechanism, or you can make appointments there as well. And as far as appointments are concerned, I use multiple modalities. So a reading with me is not simply, it might not be simply cards or simply crystals. I pretty much use everything in my toolbox intuitively, depending on the circumstances and and where spirit leads.
Good. Perfect.
And
Excellent.
Judy's Facebook page would be the Indigo Coach. So you can go ahead and look that up. She's also on Instagram under the Indigo Coach as well.
Good. Good. There was something in the middle of that we wanted to ask you. Give me 1 second. Oh, book club. So if they go to any of either of your Facebook page, or they can find out information about book club.
Yeah.
And when does the book club meet?
The book club is Tuesday nights at 8 p.m.
Okay. And it's still all on Zoom.
Yeah, all on Zoom. We try and keep it to an hour. You know, if you have to go, you have to go. Sometimes it goes a little over depending on the energy. Right. And the content as well, because this is some great stuff that we're reading right now. Good. And you have people all over the place. You have people down in New York and all. So yes. Yeah. Good. Excellent. We're drawing a crowd. Yeah. Good. That's spiritual wonderful. Warriors, Ed. Yes. Did we miss anything? Is there anything else that you'd like to share? I don't think so. I think that's it. You know, I'm just grateful to be here. And I mean, who would have thunk it, right? You told me this 7 years ago, I would have told you were Looney Tunes, but here we are. Yeah. And well, I often said that to people. If you said that when I was X amount of years old, I would be doing this for work, I would have asked you what we were smoking and asked you to give me some. So life is very, very interesting. Good. All right. So Nikki is saying book club rocks, and Liz is also. Leah is making comments about book club. Judy is here also. So thank you for everybody. Thank you for all the comments. I think we're good. I think we're ready to bring in the guides if there are any questions. Courtney is going to stick around while we have the guides here, and she is also a psychic. So if you have a specific question for Courtney, make sure that you put it in the notes that it's for her. Marge will get the questions up in a minute. I just want to remind everybody that as far as my guides are concerned, they are very direct, and at times they're blunt. It always comes from a place of love. They're going to give you what you need, not necessarily what you want. The more powerful and the more focused the question, the more powerful and the focused the answer. Sometimes my voice changes, and the guides will not take away your free will. And I think that's, so if you have any questions, you can put any questions in. Did you want to say anything about your process, Courtney, or are you good to, just good to go? I fly with the wind, Ed. So we could just, the process is different for me every time, I feel sometimes. So just okay. All right. Shoot the questions. All right. So Lee is saying, my brother is embarking on a new spiritual path for the first time. I have suggested books to him from my point of view, i.e. female. Do you have any suggested modalities like EFT tapping? But I don't know anything has stuck for him yet. Can you recommend anything? So you want to start with that one? You have any thoughts on that? Okay, good. Go ahead. Yeah, no, I can start with that one. Hey, Lee, thank you for joining us. Lee's a friend of mine. So what's coming through from me is he needs to seek out like-minded folk. I don't know that a book is going to do it right now. I think that he needs to first start to socialize how he's feeling, which I'm sure isn't an easy task, but I think he needs more of a group. He needs to either look up a workshop, maybe even one of Ed's, or start to explore what's out there for offerings as far as classes, because something's going to resonate and that's going to lead him down the right path. And then, it's going to lead him to some books and stuff like that, but he needs to get out there first. Good. Perfect. Wonderful answer. Thank you, Courtney. Occasionally, I would have the experience of walking down the book aisle with the metaphysical books, and they would fall off the shelf at my feet. And Marjorie's actually seen that happen. So we don't think your brother is up to that place yet. But if he is indicating that he would like to do some reading, we would offer maybe 5 or 6 different books and let him pick from there. And then that way, maybe something from Esther Hicks, maybe an Untethered Soul, maybe something from Neil Donald Walsh, maybe sort of a good range, and see if he doesn't pick something from there. But
as Courtney was saying, there's lots of wonderful information online. Their podcast, when Courtney and Judy get it going, is going to be wonderful. That might be a good way for him to connect also. So thank you for your wonderful question. We appreciate it. And Margaret has a question. Hi, Margaret. How are you? I have a situation at work where I'm looking for a new job. I worked through the emotions, but I want to work, but I wanted what I want out with the universe, anything on the new job. Okay. So what we would do, Margaret, and we've mentioned this to you before, is we would write down the positive aspects about your current job. And we know that sounds counterintuitive because you want to leave your current job and go to the other one. But what that's going to do is it's not going to keep you at your current job. It's going to change your vibration that you have with your current job, which will make you more of a match to where you want to go. So that would be our advice. Right now, your current job and you are both in what we would refer to as blue energy. And when you make a list of the positive aspects about your current job, your energy is going to change to green. And when your energy gets to green, you will attract more of what you're looking for. We don't feel that it's going to take a long time. We feel that it'll be a relatively quick transition for you. So that's what we're getting. Are you picking up anything on that, Courtney? Would you like to answer that? And if you don't, that's fine. Whatever works for you.
No, it's funny what you say makes sense to me, because what I was getting from that is that the energy isn't going to change with a change in career or a change in position. So there's work that needs to be done there first. So what you said absolutely resonates. Basically, lift that vibration up now and be thankful for what you do have. That I know sometimes I understand sometimes it's absolutely a challenge to find thankful things, but like Ed said to me before, maybe your boss wears nice shoes and you enjoy seeing them. I don't know. But anything, pull it out of there and that'll manifest you into a better place. And then that job's going to come to you.
Perfect. Good. Excellent. Thank you. All right. Nikki has a question for the guides. I have put aside my dream business because I'm unsure it's still right due to timing. Welcome any guidance. Okay. So do you want to talk to Nikki first, or do you want me to?
You go ahead. We talk every day.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right, good. So Nikki, we don't know if you understand this. So we're gonna just explain it to you this way. At first, there's a vibration, and then there begins to have a thought form, and the thoughts begin to formulate, and there's a thought form. And then after there's a thought form, there's an emotion. And then after there's an emotion, there's a vortex that begins to start to spin, and the energy starts to flow. And the vortex may have happened. We don't know how long you've been thinking about your dream job, but that's when it started, your dream business. That's when the vortex started. So it is being created that way. And if you're feeling that it's not time for it to manifest, then what we would do is we would simply, in our mind, in our focus, in our visualization, in our vibrational visualization, what we would do is we would be in the business in our mind and look around and say, this is what I'm doing because I love to do this. And I love talking to, I do that all the time. I love having wonderful guests on my show. This is just so much fun, and flowing the energy that way and not worrying about the timing, because when it's ready to manifest, it's going to happen. It's just pop and it's going to happen. So sort of take the timing out of it and simply use your focus, your energetic focus, to create it that way and allow it to come in that way. Now, we've talked about this before. We want to make sure that you're not trying, because if you're trying to make it manifest, then you're manifesting not having it. So go to your vision and be in your business in your mind for the fun of it, for the joy of it, because you enjoy it, because you enjoy talking to Courtney, you enjoy talking to Judy, you enjoy doing those things. That's where it is, and that's how the energy moves. So perfect. Good. All right. But you have anything you'd like to add to that?
The only thing that came to me, and I'm sure it'll resonate with her, I do the same. I'm guilty of the same, is you we get stuck in our own humanness. I can't think of another way to put it. Like if we just get mired down, or it gets mucky because we get stuck in the physicality of everything. And I think that's where it is. We need to be back at a soul level, and sometimes getting there can be a challenge. But it's absolutely going to be led by your soul.
Right. What you're describing is we get stuck in the out here stuff. We get stuck reacting to what we're seeing instead of going internal and creating what's coming. So little less time reacting to what you're seeing and more time creating what's coming, and that will allow the energy to flow. So wonderful. Great explanation, Courtney. Thank you. Judy has a question. What should Courtney and Judy's podcast be called? Remember Soul Train. There you go. I kind of like that.
Good. I can dance.
Yeah, yes, you can. You put on some music. So remember when we said the guides won't take away your free will? Well, this is one of those free will things. What we would do is we would get ourselves in a really good mood before we went to bed. And we would, as we're going to sleep, we would ask our own personal guides to say, give me a name for the podcast. Inspire me when I sleep so that when I wake up tomorrow morning, I know what it is, and see what pops into your experience in the morning. There could be an answer. And then you have to run it by Courtney and make sure she likes it. So, but that's the way we do it. Maybe both of you should do that and see what comes up from there. Maybe one night after book club, when the two of you guys your vibrations are really high and you're flying, that would be a good time to ask. So,
yeah, I am officially asking for signs, Judy. That's where I'm at right now.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Judy. We appreciate it. Courtney, I was wondering if you're getting anything about my daughter who is getting a job soon, and if she'll do well with it. She is high functioning autistic. So
I
Valerie,
am, Val. I absolutely am, Val. What I'm getting is that she is going to do well as long as you don't hover. I think that you're obviously a very supportive and fantastic mom. That's not, what I'm trying to say, but this is her time. It's her time. And I think that it's going to provide her with some amazing confidence that she just doesn't have yet. And it's just going to enable her to really fend for herself, speak for herself, and do what she needs to do. So yeah, everything's going to be great. You're just going to have to do a little nail biting behind the scenes and not, keep it all nice and copacetic when you're interacting and talking about the job, and offer advice. Absolutely. Don't hold back, but offer it only if asked.
Perfect. Wonderful answer. Occasionally people ask us, what's the best thing we can do for somebody else? And we answer by saying, hold a vision in your mind of them succeeding. So hold a vision in your mind of your daughter doing a wonderful job and being happy there and thriving and succeeding and growing and coming into herself and into her energy and into her vibration and feeling more confident and being able to do these tasks, which will help her so much in so many ways in her life, because it's a ripple in a pond and it'll grow that way. So hold a vision of her succeeding in your mind and send that energy to her, and that will actually help quite a bit also. But we agree with Courtney. She is going to surprise everybody with how well she does here. So wonderful. Thank you, Valerie. A great question. And I'm not sure how to say your first name, so I apologize for that.
Jerusa, maybe?
Jerusa. Okay, good. I was presented a job offer that sounded great, but I turned it down for reasons I came up with. Am I sabotaging, or was it a good fit? Thank you. Well, the answer is yes and no. So were you sabotaging? Yes, you were, but technically you really weren't, because you weren't really in line with the job in the first place. So we would do more work about self-esteem, about raising your vibration. The mantras that the affirmations that we said from Deepak earlier are going to be in the post here. Start saying those. Fear got the best of you a little bit, and so there was a little bit of sabotage, but we would get ourselves in alignment first. We would get ourselves out ahead of it. So when we were talking about creating the business in your mind and building it that way, the same is true for you. When you line up things in your mind ahead of time and you build that vortex and build that energy, then it automatically is going to happen and it's going to flow. Whereas when you're simply reacting to everything you're seeing, you can be sort of blindsided by a new job offer or by a new experience. So this way you line up with the energy first and then allow that to happen. So we do feel you haven't ruined anything. You haven't ruined your chances. Everything is still going to work out for you, but begin to create it more in your mind. And the next job opportunity will be more in alignment with what you really want. So good. Do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Well, I think the fact that she asked the question shows that she's already learned something that she suspected all along. I would suggest when it comes to wanting something new, whether it's a job or a partner or a car, make a list. I mentioned that earlier. Make a list of every attribute and aim high. You want it all. So make a list of everything you want from that new job. And when the offers come in, can you check them off the list or not? I think that, what's negotiable, what's not is really what's going to help you in that journey. But I wish you luck.
All right, I disappeared for a second. Sorry about that. I'm back.
Try and stay in your body, Ed.
That's no fun. That's no fun. All right, Martina has a question. How do I stay in a high vibration? I get there and just don't stay there. Well, one of the ways, we don't want to ever make anybody wrong for not being in a high vibration. We didn't come here to spend our entire lives meditating under a tree and going om and being in a high vibration. We came here to mix it up. So when your vibration goes down, you're more in asking. And when your vibration goes up, you're more in the receiving. So it is a balance. It's a dance. You're not, the symbol of the universe is the yin and yang. So there's balance there. So we wouldn't worry about being in a lower vibration. But having said that, have some tricks in your pocket. Do you have a playlist with your favorite songs that always makes you feel better? Can you go outside for a walk in nature? Can you sing? Some people like to sing really loud in the car. Can you meditate? Can you take a nap? Find things that put you back into the higher vibration so that when you feel yourself going down, you can bring yourself back up. But we want you to not beat yourself up for being in the lower vibration. It happens to all of us. It happens to me also. So that's what we would do, is just have touchstones in your pocket so you can pull yourself back up. That's all. Good. Courtney, anything you'd like to add to that?
I'd just add, be easy on yourself. There's times where I feel low vibration, like Ed said, it's a balance. And sometimes it's work, even though I know my go-tos, like he mentioned, I know what I could do to help start to raise that vibration. Sometimes I'm so cranky, I don't even want to do that. So just be easy on yourself and do it, absorb or, digest things small, in small portions until you get to a place where you feel capable of really jumping in. Like, for example, don't maybe go to a full 60 to 90 minute yoga class when you're feeling like crap and knowing that you're just not feeling like the energy is going to be good for you, maybe, or you might impact others, and maybe do what I do and go throw yourself on the lawn. Whatever it is, it's going to make you feel better, but just be easy on yourself too. Be patient.
Yes. And you want to know what my favorite thing is? Take a nap. Naps are always good.
Naps are great.
And Kayla Dutton is saying, love you guys tons. Always great mentoring. Thank you, Kayla. Love to you too. We appreciate that you're here. And I think we might be good. We're a little bit after 5. They bounced me out once, so I think we're good. Thank you so much for being here. This was a wonderful show, Courtney. We really appreciate it. I'm sure I will ask you back in the future, and we'll see about having Judy come on also.
Awesome.
And thank you to all our viewers out there. We really appreciate it. Let me just find my last page of notes here. Thank you to Marge, who did a wonderful job. Thank you to everybody at Star Nations. Thank you to Neshi. Thank you to all of you guys, everybody who is watching and participating. As Courtney said, the show is about you, and it's about us being able to help you. Her podcast is going to be doing the same. I will make sure that you all know when her podcast comes out. So
Thanks,
you will have that information, of course, absolutely. Next month, my guest will be Nancy Smith, who is the host of the podcast Angelscapes. So something for you all to look forward to. The guides want you to know that you are worthy. We will see you next month. Take care, guys. Light and love. Thank you.